Welcome to October Gallery in its 40th year. And a special welcome to October Gallery artists who've come from afar. Romuald Hazumé, who's come from Benin. Whose work is here. And Juki Kwan. There she is. Juki is from South Korea, but has been living in Italy, so not quite as far as South Korea. I would like to welcome all the artists in the show who are present, and that is James Barner, Govinda Saw. She's coming in waves. Sylvie Franquet. Lisa Vandy. And I don't know if Sakari's here. Does anybody see her? Where is she? Sakari Douglas Camp. Come over here. Come in. Where's my bottle of wine? Can you bring that bottle of wine with a red ribbon on it? Quickly. Very important. I would like to salute all those who have gone before me and all those who are running beside me, paving the way for a Eurocentric London to open its arms wide to artists around the world. I especially thank the pioneering artists who have been willing to show their work here at the October Gallery, especially in the early years. And many of you are here. I would like to also salute the formidable presence of Tambi Mutu, whose spirit is with us tonight, who introduced the literary world to the gallery in the early 80s, who published his last volume of Poetry London here. A publisher who always introduced great artists in his works of poetry in his publications. He introduced Lawrence Durrell to the gallery. He introduced Roland Penrose to the gallery. He's also responsible for the India connection. He introduced me to Varadarajan, who made Nada Brahman concerts here. Maybe you knew them, Prakash. Dance and music for years at the gallery. We were the home of the Indian Arts Council here. And his picture is over there by the sign at the front door. You'll see him in the first sign of October Gallery. Yay. John Allen, who was a trustee and co-founder of October Gallery, coined the word Transvangarde, meaning the emergence of a new cross-fertilization amongst artists, a cross-cultural avant-garde, who began to operate between and beyond cultures. He defined the Transvangarde as a shared sensibility which integrates the genuinely new with the authentic old. But this is the most important thing, he said, I think. The Transvangarde is a place where dreams and forms never before seen appear, but forms which once seen permanently enhance our perceptions. And that's why we call this exhibition Dream No Small Dream. Arriving at this derelict building in 1979 forced me to start dreaming bigger right away. And I began with the help of the members of the Institute of Ecotechnics, including Kathleen Gray, who is here tonight. And this team that first came here to start this gallery, this was a wreck, this building. And we did everything by hand. But this same team had already built an ecological project in the desert of Santa Fe, sailed the world's oceans with RV Heraclitus, Created 2 projects in the savannas of Western Australia, then the Vajra Hotel in Kathmandu, which united East and West. A rainforest project in Puerto Rico where we planted 40,000 trees. The Caravan of Dreams in Fort Worth, which opened with a symphony composed and played by Ornette Coleman, and eventually created Biosphere 2. October Gallery was the first project in a world city and would focus on ecology of cultures. We were fearless, determined, and indefatigable. And our energy came from working with 3 lines of work: theater, enterprise, how we were going to finance it all. We put on plays every year, and ecology. And it's that spirit which attracted volunteers and artists, including many of you in this room. Corinna McNeese and Elizabeth Lalushek first came here as artists, and later were both artistic directors. Gerard Houghton came here in 1994 from 14 years in Japan to become our foremost writer. Where are you, Jessie?
She's here!
Johnny Greet came here in 2005 and is our great designer and has designed all the gorgeous vinyls all around the house and in the ones in the courtyard. The underground chambers, however, were guarded since we opened by a superb sound engineer, John Whiting. But I thank you all, to the many individuals who are here and those who are not here, for helping me shape this gallery. It has been a terrific struggle with great adventures which continue, and our search will always be for the magnificent beauty of the new wherever we find it. Tonight, the club and the theater are open for you to visit, and in the club you can browse through historical books of the past. Alex, our archivist, will be there. Around the corner are 3 iPads mounted on the wall where you can view selected past events, education programs, and press cuttings. And at 8 p.m. in the courtyard, you will be amazed by a magical light installation of artist Paul Friedlander. The food is by Adrian Dubry, who is the chef of our lunchtime restaurant, and we're serving roast beef sandwiches because that's what Chile did the first opening. And I would like to call your attention to the marvelous events which will take place. They are on the gallery website. They're listed in the front hall. The first of which is a talk this Saturday celebrating 40 years with Elizabeth Lalushek, Gerard Houghton, and myself, and with many artists present. John Whiting will deliver his major work of historical events in the gallery, April the 30th. John Allen, inventor of Biosphere 2, Brian Catlin of VOR, and Tim Smith of the Eden Project will speak here on the 21st of May. And to end this exhibition will be Joji Hirota and the London Taiko Drummers. And finally and wonderfully, there will be a publication celebrating 40 years at October Gallery, coming out the first week of October this year, edited by Gerard Houghton. Please extend your support tonight by buying an advance copy for £20. And you can buy them at the front desk. But this gallery would not be as it is, neither would this show be so grand, without the help of my third mind partner, Elizabeth.
Well, you have absorbed the history of October Gallery, but tonight I stand in front of you as an artist. because it is very much the artistic creativity and spirit this is driving this being. When I was walking today, I met several people from the past, and I was so surprised. And meetings took place that I had not even planned, but they completely fell into place. And so I thought that something was whispering in my ear that this was a very special day, a day of glorious sunshine, a day when we were celebrating 40 years of October Gallery. I came to the gallery as an artist. Chile and her colleague, Marie Harding, saw my paintings at the Royal College of Art. They were huge. And of course, as Chile was fearless, she immediately wanted to engage with them. And she wrote me a letter to my small flat in Brixton. And that letter came through my door, and on it said, "Could you show me your slides?" And I said, "Yes, of course, I could show you my slides." But of course, I asked at the Royal College first, "Who knows October Gallery? Have you heard of it?" It was 1983. That was quite new at that time. It was 4 years old. So I had my first exhibition here, and as my paintings were huge, and the gallery had not yet beautiful walls, my paintings stood in for the walls. And they looked magnificent here. Big as they were. I did a residency in Paris, and I received a letter in 1986 saying, "Would you like to do another show here?" "Yes," I said. "I've just finished a whole series of huge paintings. I'm ready to ship them over to London." And there I was, having another show here in February 1987. And of course, fearless as Chile was, she asked me at the end of the exhibition as to whether I wanted to become managing director of the gallery. And fearless as I was at that point, I said, "Yes, why not?" And so our journey began. So the 80s, it was much more, so we're talking about 4 decades, and each of this decade is really very, very different. The 80s was experimental. It gathered artists. The gallery itself was trying to find its own identity. The 90s defined themselves by many regional exhibitions. We had exhibitions from Peru, from Mongolia, from Oceania, of the Yoruba diasporas, of South Africa, and many other regions in the world. The first decade of the 21st century defined itself by collaborations with many institutions. We started working together with the British Museum, with the Victoria and Albert Museum, with the Horniman Museum, with many, many museums. And the second decade of the 21st century, we found ourselves traveling outwards, going to art fairs, exposing out there. So coming to a completely different internationalism in that sense. This show here has many different artists in it. I was frightened, I must say, when I was planning it. I thought it would never be able to hang together. Because of course you want to put everybody who's ever shown here in it. Yeah. But how can you make an ecstatic project out of this? The show has artists from the 80s that started at the gallery in the 80s and that are showing here. Some of them are no longer alive, but I want to mention those who aren't, who are here, and this is Sokari Douglas Camp, who has this beautiful sculpture in the courtyard. In the 90s, we started working with Ellen Achui and with Leila Shawa. Leila Shawa brought us her guns and grenades this afternoon. She had specially made them for this exhibition, and she's from Palestine. And of course, if you look at them, you see this enormous subtlety that runs through it. In the first decade of the 21st century, we started working with Romuald Hazume. Wonderful Romuald, who we worked on so many, many, many projects with, and who really changed the gallery with his spirit. We also started working with Govinda Sarasad. And then the second decade saw new artists that are here. They saw Lisa Vandy, who is standing right in front of me, Sylvie Franquet, with her wonderful work behind her, Prisoner of Love, It's so Juki Kwon, who made this fantastic installation right in front of us yesterday, specially commissioned. And I'm going to have to look at my notes because I don't want to leave out anybody. James Barner, a wonderful friend, wonderful photographer. He introduced color photography to Ghana. Yes, these are the artists that are here from the second decade of the 21st century. And as I said, it was a trying thing to put this exhibition together. We spent hours, we spent days drawing. You say, what are we going to put on this wall? I worked very closely together with my colleague Dee Horney, who had played a huge part in this exhibition. We were drawing it out. Can this fit there? Can this fit there? Can this fit there? And then we walked in on Monday and threw all caution to the wind. We stood here like artists. We are going to make that happen. We are going to bring here this huge red painting that we will not be able to move back out of the gallery if we're not going to use it. And this was our starting point. Yes, we are going to do it. So I want you to enjoy the ecstasy of the exhibition and the many different facets it has. Thank you.
The show will be opened by Paul Goodwin, professor, independent curator, and director of the Research Center for Transnational Art, Identity, and Nation, TRAIN, University of the Arts, London. Paul.
Well, how do I follow that? The passion, the excitement, the energy. There's no way I can follow that, but I'll try. So thank you, Chile and Elizabeth, for asking me to open this extremely important exhibition, landmark exhibition, that celebrates 40 years of excellence by the October Gallery in London. And I feel really honoured to be here in the presence of the great artists that are here, some of whom I know, and also to celebrate the great work that Chile, Elizabeth, Jessie, and all of the October team have contributed and carried out over the years. But how do you sum up 40 years of achievement in 10 minutes? Which is, I've been asked to speak for 10 minutes, right? No more than that. So after much head scratching, I thought the easiest way to do it would be to use Chile's words herself. So what I want to do really is I want to read a few quotes from a statement about the gallery's history that Chile sent me in her invitation, and briefly respond to that and riff off the main points and relate that to the kind of work that I'm interested in. And like me, I'm sure that there are many people who regularly visit the gallery but are not necessarily aware of how the gallery started, although Chile obviously and Elizabeth covered that in some extent, and what was the context that produced the October Gallery. So first quote, this is Chile speaking. The gallery was conceived in October 1978 by a creative group of individuals comprising artists, architects, engineers, managers, scientists, world travelers, adventurers, lovers of the new, right, and many more. So the founders of the gallery have been working as a team since 1967, so this project goes back many, many years, and have already created several ongoing enterprises, some of which Chile mentioned: the Theatre of All Possibilities, a repertory theatre company, and the Institute of Ecotechnics, which was involved in development and application of innovative approaches to harmonizing the worlds of technology and ecology within our biosphere. So, I think this tells such an important element of the October Gallery's story that I don't think many people are enough aware about. That is, this is much more than an art gallery, right? October Gallery is actually a multi-dimensional, transdisciplinary hub where art, ideas, and ecology come together.
Yay. Yeah.
One way to say it in the language of the current discourse is, it's a safe space for unsafe ideas. I say unsafe because when it was founded in 1978, the idea of bringing together such radically different worlds as art, philosophy, technology, and ecology would have seemed absolutely bonkers at the time, right? Because London, in its, at least, this kind of creative and, in my opinion, subversive boundary crossing at that time simply didn't exist. For many in the mainstream, commercially driven London art world at the time, radical ideas about ecology would have seemed dangerously out of place and even threatening, let alone speaking about things such as the biosphere, right? As in so many things about October Gallery, it was ahead of its time. And there's a theme that comes through a lot in what I'm going to say. It's really fascinating to see how those same ideas around ecology, the environment, and the so-called Anthropocene have come to play a central part in the discourse and practice of contemporary art today. So that's one area that I think October has really pioneered. Second quote, London would be a suitable crossroads to locate a new eco-hub, and with so many cultures meeting together in this world city, would be a perfect place to see if the Transvangarde, what we call the trans-culture avant-garde, would participate. And then she goes on to explain a little bit about the building of the derelict Victorian school and how the team came together to build this. So in preparation for this talk today, I had a great conversation with Jessie about the history of October, and in particular this idea of the Transvangarde. This is a concept that is a central driver in philosophy for the October Gallery, and indeed, I think we can call it a movement. It's not just an idea, it's a movement. As the director of the first university-based research centre in the UK, and possibly the world, on transnational art, you can understand that the idea of Transvangarde is an idea close to my heart. TRAIN, the research centre, as Chile just said, the Research Centre for Transnational Art, Identity and Nation, was founded at Chelsea College of Art by two art historians, a Japanese and a British art historian, in 2004, 26 years after October Gallery was founded. Right? So you can see that here again, in terms of the production of radical ideas, October was way ahead of its time. But what is the Transvangarde? Not to be confused with Transvanguardia, an Italian neo-expressionist art movement. And why is it still important today? Why is the Transvangarde still important today? I understand Transvangarde to mean, in simple terms, that art that crosses and extends beyond boundaries, both national boundaries and boundaries of disciplines and conventional ways of making art. It was an attempt to extend the Eurocentric concept of the avant-garde beyond the borders of Europe and to grasp the truly global nature of cutting-edge art making. Many of the artists that were championed by October Gallery, Ellen Atsui, for example, he's got a huge retrospective at the gallery in Munich, at the Haus der Kunst, Momo Hazume, Nene Okoro, and many others are now held in important museum collections around the world. Introducing such international artists to the very parochial London art world of the late 70s and early 80s, the October Gallery really helped to usher in a period of globalization of the art world that would explode after 1989 with important exhibitions such as The Other Story by Rachid Arim, the artist, and at the Hayward Gallery, or the Magicien de la Terre exhibition at the Centre Pompidou in Paris, both in 1989, and heralded as being the start of global art within the art world, nearly 10 years after the October Gallery was founded. Right? The final quote I'd like to read. Chile says, "The gallery began in a very Eurocentric and overwhelmingly westernized art world. Since those early days, the gallery has exhibited artists from over 80 countries and many different cultures within them, helping to open up this city, London, to the appreciation of artistic work from all cultures around the globe. October became a registered charity in 1986, and has run a dynamic and active education department ever since, reaching out to schools all over London." So I think this is another very underappreciated aspect of the contribution of the October Gallery, that this is an important space for education, for students of all ages. The kinds of education that you will find here is unique in the arts ecology of London. You can find talks, discussions, workshops and events that cover everything from ecotechnics to African or Asian art, to role technology in society, to all manner of very esoteric and exotic ideas that are very difficult to find in the same space and in such close proximity to outstanding works of art. So to conclude, I think over the last 40 years, the October Gallery has mounted over 300 exhibitions and has arguably helped to radically shift our understanding of art from across the globe. At a time of Brexit, of Trump, of aggressive nationalisms, of the closing of borders, the building of walls, the closing of minds, the violent rejection of the other, I believe that such a space at the October Gallery is a beacon and a sanctuary. A beacon lighting the way to the present and future importance of the global and transnational, transcultural perspectives in art, and also a sanctuary for the playful and creative exploration of sometimes difficult but potentially life-changing ideas and art practices. So, glass in your hand, here's to another 40 years and more of this unique combination of great art, ecology and radical ideas called the October Gallery.
I will not speak today in English, I will speak in my language. I'm sorry for that. Tu vas traduire maintenant. D'abord, je me suis trompé de date. Donc, au lieu de venir le mois prochain pour une expo à Marseille, je suis allé à Marseille le lundi en pensant que l'expo était pour il y a 2 jours. Mais le problème, c'est que je pensais à October Gallery et ça a tout embrouillé dans ma tête et je me suis trompé d'expo.
I haven't quite understood what the particular error was. No. He needs help. He made a complete mix-up in his mind between an exhibition in Marseille and the opening of the October Gallery. So he's mixed it all up. But he is here to get together with us.
He came a month early.
Came a month early. Oh
Yes. Ça signifie que October Gallery était complètement dans ma pensée. C'est-à-dire j'étais obsédé par les 40 ans d'October Gallery.
Okay. So he's missed the other big exhibition in Marseille by a month. But what that means is that he was so obsessed by this idea of have to be there for the October Gallery, have to be there for that one, that he's actually a month ahead of when he should be. The obsession is what he's talking about.
Mais le seul problème que j'avais, c'est la saison de pêche en ce moment.
Ah.
C'est la saison de pêche en ce moment et il est difficile de me faire partie du Bénin en ce moment.
But the other thing that's going through his mind is Romuald is a very big fisherman and he likes to go out and fish. And so he's actually thinking about the fishing and being at present. So he had these 3 major things going through his mind, but October Gallery seems to have surfaced first.
Mais il y a quelque chose qui me tient vraiment à cœur. Et aujourd'hui, je pense que je représente tous les artistes de October Gallery qui sont de l'autre monde. Parce qu'il a été toujours difficile que les gens de l'autre monde soient considérés parmi ceux qui existaient déjà.
But one of the things he wants to note is to represent all the artists that the gallery has shown, but particularly those artists who are now in the other world. He's saying that it's important to represent all those people that we consider as different. They were artists, but they're no longer here. He's here to represent them too.
Et tout ceci pour dire un seul mot qui est très important, qui doit venir de tous les artistes. C'est-à-dire merci.
And the whole thing resolves to being just one word, which is a word from the artists, from all the artists on the other side, and the word is thank you.
Oui. Merci parce que sans les galeries, nous n'existons pas. Avec les galeries, nous existons mieux. Avec les galeries, nous devenons riches, nous devenons puissants, nous devenons paisibles chez nous. Nous sommes tranquilles. Et c'est exactement pour cela que je tiens à dire merci à tous ceux qui ont fait quelque chose dans cette galerie pour nous, les artistes de l'autre monde. Merci.
So he's saying that he wants, without the gallery, he's saying, we artists don't exist. with the gallery, we begin to exist. And as the gallery continues to help us, we exist better and better all the time. That it's the gallery that gives us the things that we need to continue to produce the art that we produce. And so that is why all the artists from the other side, and I think I was misunderstanding a little bit. I think he's not just talking about artists who are dead, he's talking about artists from the outside, who are artists who are not part of this first world. All we artists from the outside world thank the October Gallery for representing us. With you, we exist. We're happy.